Hello everyone and welcome to the GSM's Pride Spotlight. This week I have a new hire, Daniel Moshi. Welcome, Daniel.
Hi, I'm Dan.
So you're new to the team, right?
Yeah, I've been here for about 5 minutes now.
5 minutes? When did you start?
Last week.
What day?
I started on a Monday.
No, you started on a Wednesday, didn't you? Oh no, you did start. Yes, you did start on a Monday.
Yeah.
You are correct. Okay, Dan, so I'm going to go back and forth on a couple of things, but I'd like to ask, born and bred St. Louis?
No, I was born in the Middle East.
Really?
Yeah.
You're very white. You don't look like you're born in the Middle East.
I know, it's crazy. But I was born there, and I was there for until I was like 3, and then hitched on a plane and went to the United States.
What was you in the Middle East for? Was your parents born there, or?
Yeah, my parents are native there, and but because we were Christians over there, they didn't really necessarily like us. So we went through a Christian organization to fly over here and seek refuge.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So what did you come straight to St. Louis?
Yeah, the government told us we're going to place you here in Missouri. And St. Louis was one of the bigger cities, so they're like, just stay in near St. Louis and build a life here.
So that's very interesting. So it's definitely a new one to our viewers. Most people are born and bred St. Louis, and I got a fellow immigrant on my hands.
Absolutely.
So are you a U.S. citizen though?
Yes. It took around 15, 16 years to get it. We had to do all the paperwork the correct way, hire lawyers. We had to go to D.C. in person for an interview.
Really?
And then, they had to take these special pieces of paper and stamp them with these certain things. And once we got all that done, then we had to wait under the 2 years. They said this is to naturalize as a citizen and get used to it. And then we had a final interview, and then we got our citizenship.
And what year did you get your citizenship?
It was around 2015.
Okay, so relatively recent.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a while.
So what do you got any siblings? What do your parents do?
Yes, we got 4 siblings. Olivia does real estate. She's the oldest. Daniela is a teacher at a private school. My 2 younger sisters, Eva and Evelyn, are both. Evelyn does cinematography and editing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for her college. And then Eva does web design. And my parents, my dad's a pastor, and my mom, she just works at side jobs to just make extra income.
Okay, cool. So where did you go to high school? You know, that's a big thing in St. Louis, you know that, right?
Yeah, I went to Fox High School, you know.
Whereabouts is that?
It's in Arnold.
Okay. Yeah. So did you always live South St. Louis?
Yes. It was pretty awesome. It was nothing but corn and there's one Walmart, you know, but that's about it. You know, corn and a Walmart.
Arnold's pretty big, built up, isn't it?
Yes, it used to be a ghost town, but then as the years have gone by, it's starting to get really, really busy.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've been down there a few times, and it's usually pretty big.
Yeah.
After high school, college?
Yeah. I didn't know if I wanted to go to college, but I prayed about it, and I saw, you know, at first I was going to go through community college first because it was free, because I got some scholarships for it, and then 2 years into university, but I got a full ride to Maryville University.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a lot of work.
What did you do there?
I studied cybersecurity, and it was pretty easy, but the problem was you're just going to be sitting there, and I was like, I don't know if I can sit in a cubicle for 40 years and do all this. You know.
Cybersecurity, huh?
Yeah, it was crazy.
Let's back up here, and this intrigues me.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm a fellow immigrant. How in the world does a fellow immigrant get into cybersecurity for the government?
Oh, it's well,
that just makes no sense to me.
Well, because my parents were from the Middle East, I knew the language, some of the languages we spoke, so it gave me a tremendous advantage. So if I went into employment for cybersecurity, I'd get a job in like 3 seconds.
So how many languages do you speak?
So I speak Aramaic, and I speak English. So that's two. But I can understand some Arabic, but I can't speak it.
So what's the difference between Arabic and Arabic?
Basically,
Is it just dialect, or is it a totally different language?
It's slightly different. Some words are the same, but some words are very much different. I don't know how to classify it as.
So are you fluent in that?
Pretty fluent, not crazy fluent, but pretty fluent. Like I'll understand like most conversations. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Might have to use you in the future. So Arabic you know pretty well.
I can understand some of it, not super well, but I'll understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I can't speak it. It's
So
way too hard.
Let's touch on something. Let's go back because this is a very intriguing conversation. So, in the country you were born in, there are Christian population there?
Yes, there's always a small Christian population, but it's dwindling because a lot of the Middle Eastern countries are not a fan of Christians.
Yeah,
So,
that's why I was curious.
yeah, a lot of them have been moving to Israel because Israel's been it's been the only country that doesn't persecute against Christians. Of course, there are going to be different groups that live in Israel too that don't like Christians, but it's still not illegal to be a Christian, unlike in
It's illegal?
Yeah, in other countries, it's very much illegal. Like, if you get caught with the Bible, you are screwed.
Really?
Yeah, just like, I don't know if you've seen, but like on some cars, there's like a fish symbol.
Yeah.
And what that was is way back then, Christians would put a line in the sand like this, and then if the other person made it the other way and made it a fish, then they knew each other were Christians. That's like kind of a secret way to know you're a Christian. Yeah.
Wow. Illegal.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Very
That's
illegal.
news to me. Well, let's jump forward. So after college, did you graduate college?
Yes. It was a long
Well, I'm sure you
road.
did it full ride. You should be pretty proud of that, right?
Yeah.
I guess academic full ride?
Yes.
Because Maryville don't do that many sports. I know they do hockey, but because we sponsor them, but do they do much other than that?
Well, they have been expanding. If you're really good at a certain sport, you can get in pretty well. But most of it is academic stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what did you do after you graduated?
Well, so after I graduated, I was kind of looking for a job. I went to multiple museums to try to get an interview on a job with them because I had a degree in history and I really liked history. And I also talked to a few school districts, but the school districts wanted me to go back to school and get another degree in education. And I was like, absolutely not. It's like 40 grand a year. And then the history museums were like, oh, we're just looking for, masters and above. And so I was like, okay, and so after that, I basically just worked any job I could.
So what was your first job out of college?
It was a preschool teacher, and that was rough.
Okay. We have another teacher in the room. How do you just walk into being a teacher?
Well, so preschool teachers are different because they don't need certain requirements by the state. Anyone can be one as long as you pass like background tests and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah,
They let anybody teach preschool.
anyone. I've seen anyone get hired. It's not okay. Do not ever send your.
That actually makes a lot of sense now. I think about that.
Yeah, and the turnover rate was so bad. Like, we'd just have people who would be hired one week, and then they would just not show up to their shift the next week, and so we'd have to merge classrooms and all this stuff, and we'd have to keep it under a certain amount of kids, or else it's illegal. So
What school was you a teacher at?
I taught at Cadence Academy preschool.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's like the management is good. The curriculum is excellent. We've had some kids who like knew multiplication by the time they were 5. But the problem was there's just no pay incentive. So all the good teachers.
Well, that doesn't matter just in preschool. That's all the way up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no pay incentive. So all the people who know their stuff are just move on to greener pastures.
Yeah. So after that, what did you do next?
So after that, I became a overnight delivery driver, because I couldn't stand talking to anyone anymore. So I was like, I need to just be alone. So I became an overnight delivery driver with WFF Facility Services at WashU. And I basically just delivered heavy equipment and supplies to different buildings around the campus. And then at the same time, I kept my ZipRecruiter ad open, looking for any new other jobs, and someone from a different education place contacted me and says, "Hey, we need a director." So, and it paid it decently well, so I decided to go with that too and work both jobs because I had a lot of debt and I really wanted to get rid of all that debt. So I
Like from school, you think?
no, not from school, just from me being silly and purchasing stuff I shouldn't have. Yeah,
We all do that, don't worry.
yeah. So what I ended up doing was paying off my working for about 6 months, paying off all that debt, and once I paid it off, I quit my night job and then stayed full-time director until.
And where was that at?
It was at Code Ninjas in Wildwood.
So let's talk about Code Ninjas a little bit.
Yeah.
So what was your role there?
As a director, I was in charge of the whole facility. So the only person above me was the owner, and the owner was great, but he had multiple locations to take care of. So he's just like, only contact me if something is on fire. And I was like, okay. So I would take care of the scheduling, take care of kids coming in, take care of tours and have parents sign up, new customers like that. I would make sure all the facilities are clean, and I would assign different people different tasks and roles. Basically, I was just in charge of the whole place.
So what was Code Ninjas? What is it all about?
Basically, it's a niche after school program where kids can come in, learn how to code, and that way they're prepared for future success. And we had a lot of good people who would come in and teach them, and I would just run the background. But yeah, just teaching kids how to code stuff.
So now the big question: why in the world did you shift from the path that you were taking to the car industry?
So as much as I liked education and seeing kids, learn and stuff, it wasn't paying well, and I was like, I can't afford a house if I keep working this, So one of the parents knew you and was like, "Hey, I know a Jason," and I was like, "Oh." And
Jason.
Yeah.
Just one of them.
And she's like, I can hook you up with a job. And I was like, "Oh, okay." So, she made contact with you, and then I got your information. Yeah. And the biggest reason for the shift is, I say financially, but I really want to have fun too. Like, I want to go to work, but have it not feel like work. So, like every day ever since I came in here, I haven't been dreading to go to work. I'm like, it's time to go to work. Let's see what comes off the truck this week. Let's see what trade-ins we get this week. It's very exciting. There's always new stories I can tell my friends. There's always new stuff going on, and it's just much more fun. Much more fun.
So that would lead me down the path of saying that you're enjoying yourself at this point.
Yes, I love this job.
Have you learned much since you've been here?
I've learned so much. I've learned how to talk to customers, the appropriate way to follow up with customers. I've learned proper etiquette between salesmen. I've learned a lot of stuff about different cars we have. I've also learned how bad I thought the chip shortage was bad. It's really bad. We have so many people who are wanting to buy and order one, and most of them have ordered, but it's just taking forever to get them in.
That is true.
But I'm learning a lot about the car industry.
So what's your aspirations for the future with us?
My aspiration is to stay here until I die, or until you leave. But definitely,
me leave?
Yeah, I'll be really upset if you leave because you're a really great GM.
Well, I appreciate it. I didn't pay him to say that just there.
Just stay here as for basically as a career. Stay here for a while, and first things first would be pay off any debts I have. So I just have my car left, and then from there, save up for a house and try to pay it almost cash. If I build up my success, like you said, success first. You got to build relationships, and the money comes after. Don't worry about the money.
Well, at least I know you're listening. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So once I get that done, then I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to get a Bronco. and then I'm going to get a 250 Tremor, and then I'm going to get a Shelby, and I'm going to get a Mach-E. It's going to be great.
So the great thing about this is I love the fact you want to get in more debt, because then I know you have to work really hard to pay it off.
Exactly.
Nothing better than having an employee that's in debt, because then you know they have to work at that point.
Exactly. I'll have to make some appointments, or else I can't. What am I going to tell the bank? I'll catch you next month. Don't worry about it.
Well, I appreciate you joining me. We will revisit. This was just more of an introduction to you as part of the team. So, as always, if we move forward, we can replace the car, not the customer, and I'll see you all next week.